A $1.3 million housing project for Saint-Sauveur. Government pledges critical monetary support for the National Youth Council as the organization launches its new office. And a young Dominican scholar launches a research institute at Dominica State College. I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details coming up.
And don't waste time, eh? You know we deliver all over Dominica. The customer waiting for their product. All right?
Delivery from Muslim store. Anybody home?
Whether you rent or you have your own home, the Muslim store is the place to get what you need. We deliver.
Time has come. Time for passion, for friends. Time to share. It's KFC cricket time. Live the ICC Cricket World Cup 2015 and gear up for greatness with KFC and Pepsi. Purchase your KFC Cricket Time meal with delicious chicken pieces, sides, and a refreshing Pepsi. And accumulate coupons to win a free Cricket World Cup inspired t-shirt. It's KFC Cricket Time. So good.
Beauty Wise on Hanover Street in Roseau carries a wide assortment of wigs and weaves, including Brazilian or Malaysian hair and Indian Remy in various lengths and styles, and expression and 100% canicolon for all your braiding needs. Beauty Wise offers hair products from African Pride, Revlon, and hair clippers for men in quality brands like Wall and Andes. Come to Beauty Wise for your intimates, hosiery, personal hygiene, and salon products, and a wide array of accessories in gold and silver. Beauty Wise, the wise one-stop shop for beauty supplies.
Detroit Tires is proud to announce the beginning of the March Madness 2015 sale on new tires. All customers who purchase 3 tires get 1 free. Purchase 3 tires from Detroit and get 1 absolutely free. Visit Detroit Tires at the Kenfield Industrial Estate or call 440-9411 or check us out online at DetroitTires.com. It's the March Madness sale at Detroit Tires. Detroit, going further for less. Terms and conditions apply.
Shopping is a lot easier with Courts Ready Finance. Choose what you want from our wide range of quality products, and we take care of the rest. Courts Ready Finance's affordability means there's no deposit. There's no need for a lump sum of cash. It's flexible, which means you choose your payment term and you're guaranteed the lowest monthly payments anywhere. Best of all, it's easy. Easy to get and easy to pay. Shop at Courts today and get what you want hassle-free. Courts Ready Finance. Easy, affordable, flexible.
Our top stories. A $1.3 million housing development at Saint-Sauveur is nearing completion. Government officials, along with the Chinese ambassador to Dominica, took the media on a site visit of the project on Wednesday. Idona John Baptist has this report.
A May 2010 landslide at Saint-Sauveur will forever be etched in the memories of the people and even the history of that community. That incident claimed 3 lives and put 10 families in a disadvantaged state. This is why a gift of a housing project from the governments of Dominica and the People's Republic of China has come in handy. 2 brothers who lost their mother, brother, and nephew from the landslide will benefit from houses.
The day of the landslide, I just came to bring a cylinder house for my mother, and then as soon as I went back to my place, across here, when I turned back, I don't see no house, no mother, no nothing. When I rushed, it was difficult to meet them or difficult to see them. So we called for assistance immediately. Then it was a day when the government, like the Prime Minister, and everybody came to Saint-Sauveur for the feast of Isidore. So right away we get respond, and then everybody came, the government and everybody came on the scene.
It's every time when hurricane season, raining season, I just be afraid, I just be scared. But the landslide that up is that I afraid of.
Each house cost $139,000. Families expect to move in within the next 2 to 3 months.
The Prime Minister, in his wisdom, approached the government of the People's Republic of China because we really needed homes for some of the persons who lost their homes, for some of the persons whose home became unusable because there were cracks in the houses, so they had to move to other buildings. And the only place, based on the topography of this area, we could have gotten was for the government to purchase this portion of land and to develop it in its entirety.
Public utilities are still outstanding, but the acting housing manager says estimates have been requested from utility companies in order for that to come on stream.
This project started on 20th of October 2014. Scheduled to be completed by the end of this month. So far, the project is on stream. Presently, we are just in the beautification decorating. So we're just completing the painting, and by next week we will be doing most of the landscaping. But the site was very much of a challenge. You may recognize how steep the hill is to come up. So there was no road to the side. It was just vegetation. So it was quite a challenge, and because of the nature of the soil as well.
2 local contractors have been hired to build the 5 two-bedroom mixed timber concrete houses. Idona John Baptist, Channel 5 News.
In other news now, Minister for Culture, Youth and Sports Justina Charles pledges government's commitment to pay the monthly rental fee of the new office of the National Youth Council.
This announcement was made on Wednesday at the relaunching of the new office located on Kennedy Avenue. Minister for Youth Justina Charles says this is the first of government's commitment to 3 requests made by the President of the National Youth Council.
And we have committed to assisting with payment of the office. As I said to Mr. Bino, as the minister responsible, I will follow through to ensure that payments are made to the for the office space. The second aspect is the list of land, request for listing of land to establish a National Youth Council enterprise, livestock and horticulture program. The third one being to establish a sustainable agricultural enterprise. And as we speak, I know that the Minister of Finance has given commitment to undertaking or to assisting with you with those programs.
The NYC also launched its new website, nycdominica.org. President of the National Youth Council, Josiah Benoit, also announced a collaboration with the Dominica Youth Business Trust and Junior Achievement Dominica.
We are very glad to know that the Dominica Youth Business Trust will very soon also be located just 1 floor above us, so that we can continue to work in close partnership with them. I'm also very pleased to announce to you that based on discussions with the Junior Achievement Dominica organization and their leadership, the executive of the National Youth Council is moving forward quickly to enter into a memorandum of understanding that would see the Junior Achievement Dominica afforded the opportunity to conduct and execute its services right here from the office of the National Youth Council.
Meanwhile, Minister Charles says the National Youth Council has been very instrumental in developing Dominica's leaders.
Mr. Josiah Benoit and I will work closely. So not just 2 of us. You have also Mr. Ed Regis, who was once the president of the National Youth Council. So you have had presidents of national. My husband was once the president of the National Youth Council. The Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerwood, who was also part of the executive of the National Youth Council at one time. So you've had our national leaders emerging from the National Youth Council.
The National Youth Council was established in 1970. Its most recent president, Josiah Benoit, has been serving since 2013.
In more top stories now, a young Dominican scholar of Caribbean literature and cultural studies has established a research institute at State College. This is to help students and lecturers be more efficient in their studies.
Dr. Schuyler Esprit returned to her homeland in 2013 after having taught and held professional positions at several universities in the U.S. She formed Create Caribbean, a research institute, out of a need to provide academic support to strengthen research, writing, and resources for students and lecturers. The institute will be officially launched at the DSE Stock Farm campus next month.
And it began as an initiative I had to really reinforce the college campus with research tools and mechanisms to then go out into the public and private sector, because I think in Dominica we do not have our own very strong research capacity, and we constantly have to outsource. And I think I was trying to figure out a way to make that accessible or more prominent in our, both in our professional practice, but in our educational practice as well, and felt that the college would be a good place to start with that, because we would be training students who are right about to go into the workforce.
The organization has an advisory board of experts in ICT, computer science, international media, and business administration. Create Caribbean focuses on using digital technologies to conduct and display research.
While my personal interest or my personal investment began with history and culture and wanting to preserve Dominica's heritage and culture, which is still one of our primary goals, I realized after doing my own research on campus that there were needs across disciplines. And so, for example, we've worked with people in the agriculture department a lot. We've worked with people in the business department. So the programs that have benefited from Create Caribbean since it's been on campus last semester have been quite outside the humanities and arts. So we've benefited, and we were planning to work with other majors as well.
In other developments now, the credit union movement is expected to survive any regulations imposed by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank or government institutions.
In the context of the global financial crisis, there's been an urgency to adopt higher levels of governance, transparency, and accountability in credit unions, in line with international financial reporting standards. But there have been concerns that when regulations such as what banks are subjected to become a reality for credit unions, they could be negatively affected. But one credit bureau expert in the region says that's not necessarily so. Head of the Caribbean Credit Union Bureau, who met with the members of the Caribbean Confederation of Credit Unions here last week, says the already self-regulated credit unions will survive new financial regulations. Grady Clark says the fact that smaller credit unions are coming together into national bodies could be a key to their survival.
Smaller credit unions have had a threat, but one of the things here in Dominica, and I did a study many years ago and made some recommendations on the consolidation of the credit unions, and that has taken place, right? So by some of the credit unions combining and merging, they have become stronger and will be more viable. So I think that I think that the examples here in Dominica can be used by other credit union movements in the region. And so I think that your credit union movement here will remain vibrant and healthy, but we don't want to ignore the threat, because if you ignore the threat, then you could find yourself in a worsening position.
You are watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, the latest in court news.
Cashwiz is the one-of-a-kind pawn shop in Dominica. We'll trade all your old and used appliances for cash, grant loans applicable to the value of your vehicle and other appliances. A community service-oriented organization actively involved in building communities and empowering the young, while partnering with social groups for nation building. So come to Cashwiz Dominica on the corner of Stable Street and St. Johnson's Avenue, Pottersville, Roseau. Call us today at 440-5555. Check us out on Facebook or email dominica@cashwiz.com.
Fresher taste, fresh new look. Also available in original, wheat, brand oat, and multigrain. Rex makes it better.
No matter what, it's gonna happen. There will be a match. You and me, nothing's gonna stop it. Believe me. I know what I have to do to beat you. I have to finish you.
You're not fighting a man. You're fighting a beast.
WrestleMania 31. Yes, you heard right. WrestleMania 31 live on Mapping Spread Preview this Sunday, March 29 from 7 p.m. Channels 21 and 105. Sign up today. Only $28.75 for your seat at ringside. Only $28.75 for your seat at ringside. WrestleMania 31. WrestleMania 31. Mapping terms and conditions apply.
Introducing the Ashley Collection at Quartz. Quartz has joined with Ashley Furniture, the #1 selling home furnishings brand in America, to bring you the most extraordinary furniture selection at unbeatable prices. It's now easier than ever before to find that perfect furniture piece for your home. And what's more, you can add that special touch with the right accent piece from our range of designer accessories from Ashley. Create the perfect look for your home with the Ashley Collection at Quartz. Quartz, bringing value home. Visit the new Ashley Gallery at our Roseau store.
Wash your hands. I am Adora Toussaint, health educator from the Ministry of Health. Proper hand washing protects against the spread of many common illnesses and germs. Wash your hands often with soap and water, or you may use a hand sanitizer. Remember, clean hands save lives. Protect yourself.
A message from the Health Promotion of the Ministry of
Thank you for staying with us. Anticipation Wednesday afternoon that police officers under investigation in connection with the death of Joshua Etienne of Portsmouth would appear in court quickly dissolved when it was re-emphasized that the matter pertaining to the officers would take place on April 2nd. It was anticipated by some that charges would be read to the officers Wednesday. The body of Joshua Etienne was discovered in a police cell in Portsmouth in August last year. The officers originally under investigation were Sergeant Hayden Morgan, Corporal Gemma Lewis, Constable Martin Simon, Devin Challenger, and Orland Vigil. In court on Wednesday afternoon, attorney for one of the officers, Dawn Yearwood, told the magistrate she came to court based on media reports. Magistrate Candia Carret George stated that the matter in question was scheduled for April 2nd and reminded the only defendant present to appear on that date. Lawyer for the family of the deceased Tiani Behanzin spoke to reporters outside court Wednesday afternoon.
If the court proceeding at the magistrate's court was stopped because there was an impending application at the High Court, that application have now been withdrawn. Therefore, it's left now to the police to continue the process they had started, which is to arrest them officially, bring them to the court, read the charges to them, and then decide who could be bailed and who not could be bailed. What we understand is that of the 5 that were initially charged with murder, there'll be 3 of them facing murder charges and 2 facing lesser charges. Now, it is always open to the family to charge those not charged for murder as a private criminal prosecution. That certainly could still happen. And those discussions are being held right now with the family as we wait to see what happens next.
The family of the deceased are clearly frustrated over protracted delays in this case.
Because, I mean, if the stay was withheld or withdrawn, at least the police officers should have been arrested and the charges read to them. Because, I mean, after all that time, nothing is happening and another just dragging on. So, because I was there when it was informed that they should go to the police headquarters. So apparently they're doing what they want. Because even today, while we come to the court, they could allow whoever, and they didn't allow all the family members to go inside the court. So it is just really frustrating. But again, the only just judge is God Almighty.
What happened today, we don't know, only God knows, but we won't stop there. We're going further and we're going to fight for him. because he was a fighter and he would fight for us if he was there. But we're not stopping there. Whatever decision that they take, we go ahead with the decision. And we hope to get justice.
In more news now, government, CARICOM and youth representatives joined forces Wednesday in solidarity against violence against women and girls.
On March 25th, Dominicans are encouraged to wear orange to show their opposition to violence against women and girls. Minister for Culture, Youth and Sports, Justina Charles, says she strongly condemns any form of violence.
Because I understand as a nurse by profession and as a community person the impact that those level different forms of violence can have on the individual, on the family, and the development of our country.
She says no effort must be spared to ensure there is a voice against such behavior. The female youth ambassador calls on government, police, NGOs, parents, and schools to support the cause.
We ask the public to lend a hand to the victims of abuse. We no longer plan on accepting the violent environment that our children are raised in. The families who cry after the loss of their mothers, sisters, daughters, and aunts. We offer our shoulders to these depressed women. We hear your cries. We observe your poor work that you produce in schools, personal lives, and professionally. We ask the victims for their assistance. Break the silence. We are attempting to infiltrate the barriers of this destructive force to annihilate the issue from the source.
John Baptist encouraged youth to take charge of the situation and make a difference. Acting Assistant Chief Youth Development Officer of the Dominica Youth Business Trust, Bernard Bonteef, says there are cases of abuse against women and children that are not recognized.
But we have a lot of secret violence taking place, especially emotional violence. And we seem to think that when a man hits a woman, this is violent, but when a man abuses a woman verbally, that it is okay. So I am on board with you because I love my wife, and I love my daughter, and I love my mother, and I hate the idea of people who show disrespect towards women and children.
Orange Day is observed internationally on November 25.
In related news, CARICOM Youth Ambassador Karaya John Baptist says in April she will be hosting a panel discussion on the issue of violence against women and girls. John Baptist, who is also the president of the Roseau South and the Central District Youth Council, says she will be rallying young people, young and old, to discuss abuse in a large forum.
Let them know what violence against women is, what the effects, bring the men, let them know the effects the violence have on not only the women, but on society on a whole. And after that panel discussion, we're going to separate everybody into groups. So we'll have a group with men, women, elders, children. And each group, we're going to have a project planning workshop, project planning training, and everybody will be trained in developing projects. And after the projects, each group will be able to develop their own project on eliminating the violence against our women.
John Baptist says although the date has not yet been chosen, it'll be a two-day activity. She says the discussion is open to people island-wide.
But I want to specifically target the people who are already part of a group, where they have that support from a youth, from an organization, sorry. But if you're not part of a group, you yourself can come in and get yourself associated with the groups. That is the way we create working relationships.
And finally, since Jamaica's legalization of controlled quantities of marijuana for medical purposes in February, Channel 5 News has brought you local reaction from economist McCarthy Marie, who believes cannabis should be fully legalized, and similar sentiments from Attorney at Law Henry Shillingford. Recently, I decided to put that question to a pastor from the Benz area who believes use of marijuana could lead to dependency and ultimately idol worship and witchcraft.
When you get yourself involved in something that you're dependent upon and is a substance, and remember that we have to depend upon God for our strength and for everything that we do.
So you're saying it's a dependence on a tree, on an herb?
On an herb, and that is already wrong.
I pressed Pastor Dupy for his perspective on parents in the U.S. resorting to medication containing cannabis to treat children with seizures. These parents say it's the only thing that helps.
We must understand all these things that we're speaking about when it comes to illness. I mean, those things have been existing, pretty long. Even when Christ was here and his disciples and he walked among men, people were sick. and he healed the sick. And he did many, many miracles and so on. So I believe that if one trusts the Lord, that he can perform miracles in their lives also.
I am sure the parents believe that as well, but from day to day they're struggling with these children and they feel that, okay, medication with some marijuana in it helps.
We know that the different herbs are used and for medication as well. But I'm just saying that if one make his or herself dependent upon a drug, I mean, without allowing the Lord to have His or her way in that person's life, you're going to make yourself. I mean, what I would say here, witchcraft is something that persons get themselves involved in abuse of substances and so on, and they believe that it is good for health purposes, and whereas it's not.
According to FoxNews.com, most of the state laws in the U.S. only allow cannabis to treat serious forms of epilepsy. A neurologist at Children's Hospital in Colorado and co-author of a study released at an American Epilepsy Society meeting in December said they did not have enough data to recommend marijuana products for families. That's news. Your sporting highlights next.
The Trafalgar Roseau Valley Cycling Association awarded its first ever winners on the weekend.
Our 2015 champion, first time ever cycling race in the Roseau Valley, is none other than the man, Mr. Dominic Kentish.
The 2015 Roseau Valley Cycling Race saw young riders from the area competing in a marathon race in junior and senior categories. Kendall Lestrade was second place in the senior category, while Peter Daniel and Peterson Daniel placed first and second respectively in the junior category. Organizer of the competition, Ronald Charles, says there was a need for such a competition in the Roseau Valley and encourages its continuation.
This is the first time that we have engaged in an activity of, in terms of cycling, because one of the things that, that took my attention is that driving through the villages of the Roseau Valley, I realized quite a number of young persons are engaged in the bicycles and they love that kind of cycling thing. So I met with a few of them and we set up what is called the Trafalgar Roseau Valley Cycling Association. And this is the first event we're having and many more to come. And I want to say that it's very encouraging to see so many young people, so many young men and women are engaged in such a wonderful activity. This is something that we should encourage. This is something that we should continue to do. And I want to say thanks to all the sponsors and all those who, in one way or the other, contributed to this great event.
On to football now, where games got on in the 2015 Girls Secondary Schools Football Tournament Tuesday evening, while goals galore was the story of the All-Ireland League. Gerald George has more.
Results of matches in the DFA All-Ireland League last night. Goodwill All-Stars defeated Dr. Darrow All-Stars 5-1 at the Buffett State playing field. Kian Murphy found the back of the nets twice for Goodwill, with one each coming from Shane Cochran, Cornell Barron and Cornell David. Hanny Francis scored for Dr. Darrow All-Stars, while at the Dubla playing field, Biosh Chums and Exodus Football Club played to a 1-1 draw. Ashwan Hill scored for Exodus, with Jesse Darrow scoring for Biosh Chums. Meanwhile, in the DFA Sports Division Secondary School Girls League, on Tuesday, Orion Academy defeated St. Martin Secondary 2-1 at the Lindo Park. Megan Sentile scored for Orion, while they also benefited from an own goal. Danny Shapier scored for St. Martin Secondary, while at the Buffett State playing field, Wesley High School defeated Convent High School 5-0. Kiana Williams, Onisha Deluge, Chanel Alexander, Danisha Baron and Keisha Eugene scored one each. The All-Ireland League continues tonight with Ian Pinatsu Freya Spartans taking on Digicel Newton Juvenile Academy at the Newton playing field, while at the Buffett State playing field, Trafalgar Academy will come up against Buster Warner. Both matches begin at 6 p.m.
In Dominica's preparation for the 44th annual Carifta Games in St. Kitts, athletes continue to seek support for their trip in 2 weeks. President of the Dominica Amateur Athletics Association held a meeting with the 9 qualified Carifta athletes last weekend and told Channel 5 Sports that while the athletes are physically ready, there are other requirements that must be met.
We'll be leaving on the 1st. The game village opens on the 2nd, so which means we're going to be there one day early. And I was expecting to leave on the 6th, but we'll be leaving on the 8th because of, again, flight problems. So we'll be staying up a few more days extra. That, trying to get a local support in St. Kitts to kind of get that aspect of the trip taken care of. And I can roughly say right now it's about 80% complete. I'm still waiting to get some final yes or and whatever else that it's gonna take to get there. But I think the highest hurdle we can practically say we're over it, which is getting the team across to St. Kitts on the weekend.
Harris says the 11 athletes selected to represent Dominica are the cream of the crop and are deserving of the local support, which has not been very forthcoming. With a few days to go, Harris is making a public appeal for more support for the athletes.
I don't want to point any fingers, but a couple of businesses have been written to, and so far the response have been negative because there's always need for example, we're going to be staying at airports for quite a while. We leave in the afternoon, early afternoon, and we're ending up later in the evening in St. Kitts. We'll be staying in Antigua for quite a few hours. And that aspect, especially getting ready for competition, one thing you don't want to have full up the system is gas. And as all of us who have traveled know, airport food is no cheap one. So we encourage our athletes to carry something with them. But it'd be good that we can get some additional support that we can at least be able to buy some stuff for the athletes while they're on transit. Again, the cry is always out there. We're leaving on the 1st.
Harris or Secretary Chantal Xavier can be reached at the Dominica Amateur Athletics Association office on 9 Church Street or contacted via cell number 225-8688 or 612-5463.
Your weather report is next.
Good evening. Welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. Earlier, satellite imagery showed a few low-level clouds moving across most of the Lesser Antilles, with some high-level clouds streaming from the southwest to the northeast. Earlier, radar imagery indicated some scattered showers across the Lesser Antilles, with the Douglas Charles reporting 10.1 millimeters of rainfall. The weather for tonight is expected to be fair to partly cloudy, with a few scattered showers, with temperatures down to 24 degrees Celsius on the coastline. Similar conditions are expected tomorrow. Fair to partly cloudy skies with a few scattered showers, with winds out of the northeast and temperatures peaking near 30 degrees Celsius. Marine conditions are expected to be moderate in open water, with waves peaking near 7 feet. For the next 3 days across Dominica, occasional cloudy skies and scattered showers are likely, with an increase in wind speeds to 45 kilometers per hour expected by Friday into Saturday. For the remainder of the Caribbean tomorrow, a high pressure system will be the dominant feature, with occasional cloudiness and scattered showers across most of the island chain. On the international cities forecast, some rain expected in New York and London, with partly cloudy skies expected in Miami, Caracas, and Beijing. The sun will rise tomorrow at 6:05 a.m. and set at 6:17 p.m. For additional information, feel free to contact us at 447-5555 or visit our website at weather.gov.dm. Thanks for viewing and have a good night.
The headlines again: a $1.3 million housing project for Saint-Sauveur nearing completion. Government pledges critical monetary support for the National Youth Council as the organization launches its new office. And the young Dominican scholar launches a research institute at Dominica State College. Send your questions and comments to news@marpin2k4.com. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thank you for watching.